Watch what you say. I'm gonna start the recording.
Oh, wow. Just out in the lobby. Because sometimes they're having a meeting. So I didn't want to come in. I always assume there's somebody else.
Thank you so much.
David, talking to David Hollis, he just called me. He said, let's check with Julia.
I mean, making paper parking is like adding insult to injury.
Thank you.
One thing. I don't know. Let's just check. Really helpful. Great. It would be really helpful.
No chance of that place flopping up on you and turning into an awkward sandwich.
Parking, I really am parking. It's you need to come upstairs.
So you're part of the committee?
Living in a local house, they have no license plates.
I'm Julia, I'm with the water department.
We'll say, well, it's not going to keep it.
Yeah.
You have to call her.
And Amelia, she's with Tampa Bay Line.
Well, they're not really committed, so we can't. It's got some
So are you
crazy
working?
man screaming at nothing. And I'm like, well,
I'm
you
looking for screens and,
parks to meet us down there. I'm like, parks is closed.
supposed to be.
So what I-
You want to oversee that.
Sure, we can do.
We can do a cab lab,
What we
so.
do to get together with the people that are going to get this stuff. Because it's very frustrating to call one department and just
Are you
pump
working
to
on
another one.
Sulphur Springs?
And that's
I was telling you, because
It's extremely frustrating. And then this person's gonna say, well, I know the law more than you do, you know? And I just look at it, and the law. This is the law. And it's like,
But no, your counterpart.
just help, just help. You know what I mean?
you met in college. So what department?
So,
you're on?
maybe we are starting.
Okay.
He's super excited.
It's probably the change you number.
So I think he just, say, back.
And also, well, so the biggest thing for me too is it's like, I want to be able to say to the residents, if you see something going on, this is who you call, because that's my thing. So you'll call non-emergency, they'll say,
We focus on water conservation.
okay, well, it's not you, so who do I call? You know what I mean? And so it's getting to yeah.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
The renters are one thing.
Or with those.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Sharing
wait, well, dollars for a
Yeah.
renter, this is what, I know they probably don't.
Yeah, because there's gotta be.
But normally a renter wouldn't pay for that, right? So it's something like-
Magistrate.
So the landlord could do it
City Hall.
and get the rebate. We've actually done a lot of, multi-family apartment houses and water savings.
Communication with
Yeah.
the state.
Yeah.
It's really preventing anything done. Like I said, it says that's.
Use them and-
It says, well, that's not.
So they'll take care of it.
Nobody's talking about it. And so then they say, well, then finally when we get to the parking, they'll say, it's been 3 weeks. Well, we didn't know anything about it. This
Yeah.
Day one starts now. And it's like, no, it's not 3 weeks, but day one. So it's like.
Point them towards the savings on their utility.
That's
bill, and
Yeah.
Plus getting money from the rebate to subsidize.
But,
It's kind of a no-brainer. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. You mean, especially. That's their time.
And some of the managers can get bonuses for savings.
Why is it that I have?
Reducing utility bills and costs. Occasionally, I've got to talk much.
No gun to the head, so can't do anything, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you trim that branch, you need to plant.
Email me and tell me. He wanted to this to management company. That sheet right there shows the change in water use
There was depressing.
There's love.
And that's what.
It was funny because we're very sorry and trying to keep your town. That's fast.
Oh,
Okay. So let's say anyone calls.
So it's like,
Yeah.
church pews are different.
I'll sit there. Oh,
I'm just sorry.
I come in shower.
the room crowded. So,
You're
yeah.
not sitting there?
No, no, it's, you can.
That area. So it was so cool.
Hey, Josh.
I replaced them.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm at CRA all day.
Okay.
But then I still comes. And I noticed that they like, that's all the building. So.
Oh, that one's coming.
So.
Oh my God.
Dad, little dad, you're saying I'm over. Hey, buddy.
But first of all, he was installing like solutions.
Yeah.
Oh.
They almost sprinkle off.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha.
Hello?
Yeah, put it on.
Yeah. You just get to say, you're just gonna go ahead and start with what you start with. And then we'll see you when we see you.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Sales or what?
I appreciate what you got. I'm so, yeah, I'm around. I'm around.
Oh, that's- You're.
Hi, thanks.
That's common. I mean, I've
Okay,
done
well,
it
we'll
before
see what you get.
as a renter, because I look at the low flow shower.
Oh, yeah.
It's right fair or something, so I put that in, but then when you're trying to leave, I give them back their little, you know.
So,
That's like me. I don't know what I'm gonna be stuck with in my next place, so.
You never know when you're gonna do a shower.
So do you want to have these guys, don't have time to be we're not sitting here, like a first one. Alright.
Party, it's like a
Yeah.
party.
What are your thoughts on talking to David about maybe us relocating these to actually being in central New York, like a 200?
For team.
Yeah, well, because we had no, that was such a nice, I think it's so nice to have, because she sees it, and I'm down there at least once a week, if not more. Andrew lives down there, Danielle, and I, like, we can meet her as a match. And I just like, there's so much going on that I want to make sure that everybody's aware and visualizing.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, I can be flexible. It's only just like, you know, that I'm like, okay, I always come here and usually it works.
Well, and we
You know, I
have
go back to.
Genies down there, but they seem to have, I don't know, a user error, but it's a little bit of technology.
He's had all this time figuring out.
Like stuff like listening if you do it virtually.
Yeah, where,
I think they do it at Ella or Trio
Yes.
okay,
or the Reed. I don't know. I've only joined it virtually.
okay, yeah, because I mean, that would be nice first, I think, if we had them down in some partner meetings. And that's just,
That's how we
Be right
were able
over.
to.
Oh.
you know what I mean? And like I said, I just think it's so nice because that way everybody gets an opportunity to see what's going on down there, see what your lot looks like, see what you guys are doing, see what's being built, see what they think needs
Not
to be done.
everyone's ready.
You know, see what's going on with the farm, see what's going on.
And
with
sometimes I hear
Paradise.
about them, they're like, oh, okay.
That's my biggest thing. with
Later,
any of
it's
the
like,
farms that I
oh,
say
there's
is,
these people
that's not
that were telling me
you
about
don't see
this
this every day,
rebate
you don't see it
program,
every
really
day.
gotta look
It
into
doesn't,
that.
you don't absorb as
So,
much.
you know.
So I just think that would be
No, I agree.
beneficial.
Really cool. Parking's easier over there.
That's what I'm talking about. Exactly. Go over and hang out with my homegirl for a little bit in her shop, and then we can,
Yeah.
not on a hot day like this, but on a nice day. Alright, so I looked over everything.
I take one of these pictures every day.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Mhm. One of my favorite leader, everything.
Oh,
I like how it says too, I gotta be able to verify pretty sure.
But
I'm not in this town, Barry.
Well,
Really ready for the whole reuse.
Well, let's go down. Well, even that,
Even then, they don't want it.
Did you look
yeah,
at that?
but, I mean, I get my.
Did you look at this?
I heard the presentation.
Okay, this is fine. Where didn't even see other toilets?
Oh, this is
How
about.
do I find out? Because it says they're doing toilets for site.
Oh, this is really cool.
They just stand on stamps.
Have you seen this?
Mm-mm.
This is pretty cool.
What is it?
I figured out that was just a water.
I didn't notice that part.
Yeah, I was just looking it over. Interesting. If you ever need to develop your toilet, it's like the bullet is it's stamped. You know, that's
Interesting. I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Scan QR code. And follow instructions.
They're really active in that space. No, we have running to our, it's like.
It gets all fast, all right.
Oh, I sticker. That's cool. See, that's-
Yeah. it's- and there's some account that you can-
I mean, how do you do that?
And I see these people, and I'm like, oh. It really is just like, oh, yeah. QR code, but somehow it's connected to the back of the hand, use it over the card, really good. We advise them to go on technology.
Yeah.
I just got it from the, visitation center.
That's cool.
And of course, I'm gonna rip it off, because I want them to do it in my shop.
For real. I want to. I need to. Have you seen
Not so much in this community, but in other communities, they're like, please use the water.
Fred Grimes at all lately?
Can you water again today? Virtual.
I just haven't seen him for a long time.
Oh, he's busy.
Is he down at the History Center pretty often or no?
And they're starting to do citations. Because this is now, it's a commodity curator.
Yeah.
That's becoming.
I also was asking too, you know, always looking for you too, if you ever see an old copy of Things Remembered anywhere. Or one of Brady's book, or the big blue one, can't find it anywhere.
I know, they had it for $400 online. Yes, they did. And I do have one copy, but I am not giving it.
I know, but I'm saying if you find an extra one, or if you ever have somebody that brings it in.
And put a logo first, I didn't give it to them.
I love it. Just because I took notes, I mean, I can always go to this library, but I like it the reference book. I really like that. That's one of my favorite reference books. And it's cool with the pictures and with her and you were the first that sort of, Dorcas, Brian, you know what I mean? I never knew who that was. Touched that picture of her. I was just.
Icon.
Okay.
Oh, icons, nice.
With kids and,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, we were with another family,
Uh-huh.
and so we were with kids and my husband and wife. We had a really good time. I did not get out of it. My husband almost lost it.
Oh, wow.
So we got a free cruise coming in July. I might was, I was flying in, well, this one.
Have fun, whatever. Hey, buddy. House on his way. How much is he?
I haven't even dared to look out the window to see.
Read house or no?
It's always true about what it was up there.
I mean, I wouldn't, why don't we, it's the next 20 minutes, so you should have, because them, their presentation, we're not putting theirs presents, at least let me have them present. And then-
It's just always there. I mean, I've been there 30 years.
I know,
It's like the children.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. There was no reason for that to go down, except that's the first thing. Yeah, everybody in the building. house is moving.
Well, you want to look at, well, we can't.
With
grab
the
that, so we
existing
can
tree.
put them minutes.
And
Yes.
That's what these two.
And they're just going around the yard and just cutting everything down.
So you just wait, you let me know.
Yeah, I mean, that's right.
Wait a minute. David Hollis wasn't
You know,
here for
so
the last
anyway,
So there was 20 minutes anyway. He was here.
this is what they do. They come in and they buy things.
No, it's good.
and the
It's a
first
great point.
thing is to bring a truth from out.
Have you been to orientation?
So,
homestead.
I think Hollis is 15 minutes. Very easy. Like another 10 minutes. Oh, really?
Yeah, when I was driving.
No.
I love that you're double dressing too.
And the
I was
only
in
thing
30
that
feet
takes
today.
I know.
down,
Yeah.
land, tree, and over us, it's dangerous. So whatever, it's dangerous tree, okay?
So everybody here presented it. Shiz, and shiz.
So you're gonna think, Andrew asked for the appointment, so he should be.
No, we've lost it, we've lost it. It was over the whole state, really.
Oh, my.
You let me know. Stay out, come on. Joe, tell him he was on 275, it just passed over. So that means he's gonna have to get down to downtown east west, take Scott Street.
What's going on down here tonight? Like,
That's it.
Well, there people are getting ready for Pride. I think,
Is that right?
I think.
just like every road was
Well, I mean, I think
characteristically.
we did a decent attendance.
For, is there 5 race?
Yes.
It's bad day.
You want to have the
Is it me or is it? Yeah. Gotcha. Gotcha.
So, yeah, someone else was mentioning how downtown hotel, which is really looked down, I'm assuming it's. I don't know, so.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm not that no more. He's a old queen on the
Yeah, I'm
float.
sorry, we need 4, but I think we're gonna go ahead and open up. But the individual we're waiting on is in the Encore development that would have a lot of
Yeah.
units.
So I really want him to be here for your guys especially, just because I think that's gonna be very beneficial for him to hear y'all's presentation.
Yeah, we would like to meet them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it would be a win-win. So if you don't mind, we'll probably go on into
Yeah.
a couple of other items and then we'll go right to you once David shows up.
So we'll go ahead and call them the Central Park SBC meeting to order. We're recording already, so that's good. Do we have any public comments today? Okay, no public comment. So,
Karen,
Karen.
Karen, you online with us virtually?
Hey, everybody, Karen Kress, Tampa Downtown Partnership, just listening in and here for questions.
Okay.
Awesome. Has anybody, you guys had a chance to look at the minutes from last month?
Did.
Anyone want to make a motion to approve or do any adjustments to those minutes from last month?
Yeah, no adjustments for me. I can make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, I'll second that. That's great. Update on the blank tiles. I forgot that we discussed that for Rufus and the blank tiles that they're sending down
Oh, yeah.
for the, yeah. I looked at this, I thought they had put a lot of things on it, so just keep them from splintering anymore. Yeah, I just want to make sure Ursula's got an opportunity
Oh,
to
sorry.
approve those minutes if there's any adjustments that she sees on there. Okay, so minutes are approved. February, that's what's good. All right, great. Mr. Professor Green. Yes, would you like to start with, I'm sorry?
There you go.
There he is, okay.
So we'll go Do you mind, Professor Green, if we, again, sorry.
Who do you want to go with? Chicken. Look at you. Tan from that spring break. Look at you. Okay, so, Mr. Hollis, we want you to make sure to pay close attention to this presentation because it deals with the toilets and water treatment or water.
I mean, don't take that personal.
Yeah, exactly. The waterized rebate program. So it's very, I think it's going to be informative, especially for any kind of like multifamily things and whatnot. So if you all would like to introduce yourselves and start with whatever presentation you have for us this afternoon.
All right, I'm going to start it off. Thank you for giving us your time. I'm Julia Colosio. I work with the City of Tampa Water Department and Water Conservation and Efficiency Team. For our services within the city, for all of our customers, we do provide some one-on-one work. We can either with residential, single family, multifamily, commercial, industrial. So we're very much there to serve our customers and help them understand how their bill is calculated with regards to the water that they're using. So it's really important to us that our customers understand how much water they're using and whether or not that's an appropriate amount of water for that business, that home. For our team, some of the resources that we provide to all of our customers, we have both indoor and outdoor resources. So this, for example, is the kit that we would provide to our single family, multifamily, whoever wants to install an indoor water conservation kit. You get a 1.5 gallon per minute shower head, the kitchen faucet aerator, the bathroom faucet aerator, and dye tabs for testing the toilets for leaks. Now, when we're speaking with our customers and we're looking at high bill situations, there's two main reasons bills go up, and that's irrigation and bad toilets. Just doesn't change. No matter where we're at in the nation, those are the two things that are going to be first to drive those bills up. And so that's the indoor kit. And then for outdoor, again, with that irrigation, especially in right now, what we find is that almost all homes now are constructed with automatic irrigation systems, and very few people have the experience of managing that irrigation. So, for example, a recent situation I had was, the home was there for decades, nice oak tree canopy. They used about 3,000 gallons a month. And then come in, we're going to redevelop, fine. Okay, we understand that's going to happen. Take the trees down, put a new house up, put sod and landscaping, automatic irrigation. What do you think that usage changed from 3,000 gallons a month to what?
10.
10. Do you have any other bids?
I'll take 15.
15. 43,000 gallons.
Wow.
And this is what's happening over and over. And so for outdoor use is very, very critical right now. We need to pay attention. So besides going out and working one-on-one with those customers and examining that irrigation system and working with our rebate partner, Tampa Bay Water Wise, for some equipment, we also just coach people on how to, well, maybe measure the water in the soil before you decide to turn on the system. Measure your rainfall to understand that rainfall is the first water source for your yard, and irrigation is supplemental to that. And so we have these kinds of things. And then I will just leave you with a few other thoughts. We do like to recognize our water-wise landscapes in the community. So if you have some award-winning landscapes that you would like to enter into the competition, that is on until June 30th.
Yes.
June 30th, and that's another program that we work on together. And so you can submit your application online to have an award-winning landscape, and we love visiting those landscapes. We have coupons. If you want one of these kits, you can use this coupon. just use a little scan thing. It'll take you right to where you asked for your kits and we mail them to you,
Cool.
as long as you have an account with us.
Yeah.
And so I'll leave some of those.
So the only thing that needs inspection is if you're getting the toilet replaced, correct? That's the only time that you could have somebody come out and inspect.
That's gonna be,
Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
Tampa Bay Water Wise. This is if you just want one of these kits.
Yeah, they're so- I think they're great.
To you. We also, if there's other meetings or organizations that you would enjoy having some more in-depth talk or even the same information, you can always ask us to send you a speaker. And, of course, if you're irrigating, we would hope that you are going to understand when you're eligible to irrigate, when you're allowed. So this is, and we are in a water shortage right now. So we're down to 1 day a week, right? So that has your 1 day a week schedule. And then lastly, before I turn it over to Amelia, we've got information about the flapper, which is that mysterious thing down in the toilet tank, you know? And if you jiggle the handle and it turns quiet and you think you're all magical and marvelous, no, I'm sorry, it's just that you have a bad flapper. And, and you can test your toilets for these. So I'll leave some of those. That's a really important thing for y'all to do. And that's about all for me right now. And I will turn it over to Amelia, and she brings the most exciting part with those multi-family rebates.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Sure.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amelia Brown, and I work for Tampa Bay Water. If you're not familiar with Tampa Bay Water, we are a drinking water wholesale provider. So we provide the drinking water that comes out of people's taps in most parts of Pasco, Pinellas, and Hillsborough counties. We provide water as needed to the city of Tampa. So we provide water to 3 cities and 3 counties, and the group of us got together about 4 years ago to launch this program called Tampa Bay Water Wise that I manage in partnership with all of the cities and counties. So this program offers a variety of water saving rebates for homeowners and property owners of all types. If you're talking about apartment buildings or businesses, we have ways to help residents and businesses save water. So our residential rebates are toilet rebates, and we have a couple outdoor irrigation related rebates for a smart irrigation controller that uses the weather to manage the irrigation timing. And then for the multifamily sector, similar to the hotel sector, we offer rebates for toilets, shower heads, and faucet aerators. And this part of our program has quickly become the largest water saving portion of our program. So I have an additional flyer here. I know you got a lot of flyers from us already. I don't want to inundate you. I will pass these around if you're interested, but what this one on the top shows is the results of the water usage of a couple of apartment buildings that we did. So the water usage was here and it dropped by more than 50% in some cases, but on average, our projects drop 50%. And that is by installing ultra efficient toilets that use 0.8 gallons per flush and high efficiency faucet aerators and shower heads. And that drop is immediate. We highlight the 2 months of the installation period, and you can quickly see how much money the property owner would have saved, or actually did save in each of these cases, thousands of dollars each month. And that's from the water savings and the wastewater bill. If you ever really look at your water bill, you might notice that the wastewater is sometimes more than the actual water bill. So when you're saving that indoor water, you're also saving your wastewater bill. We do also have rebates for the exterior of buildings, whether it's an apartment building or a business. And that we do through our customizable rebate, because it's not quite as plug and chug as like taking out an old toilet and putting a new one in. But what the program can do is provide funds up to, at a maximum, cover up to 75% of project costs. To cover things like installation of a smart irrigation controller, the ones that are looking at the weather to modulate the watering, or putting in micro irrigation, the drip line irrigation, and converting the spray nozzles to be high efficiency from sort of high flow to high efficiency. So we've worked with condo units, for example, one condo association, they did a project on their outdoor landscaping, and it was a $10,000 bill, but they got 75% of it paid from our program. So they really did really well on that. And now they're also saving on their water bill as well. So those options are available to property owners, basically of all types. I did have one extra goodie for each of you, which is along the lines of what Julie was talking about. This is just a little leak detection dye tablet. Someone asked before, don't eat it, okay? It's not toxic, but it is not candy. So if you think you might have a leak in your toilet, one of these tablets into the back of the toilet, and if the bowl water, the water in the bowl turns blue, then you have a little bit of a leak. It might be a leaky flapper, which can be fixed for 15, 20 bucks for the cost of the part, or a little bit more if you call your plumber. But on the back of this, it actually sort of articulates what some of the common leak sources are. And of course, if you wanted to replace your toilet, there are rebates for that as well. So that really sums up our program in a nutshell, and I'm happy to take any questions and field them with Julia if there are any questions that you all have for us.
That was my question, so I think they said you have to have someone come out and inspect in order for the toilet replacement. That's the only.
Only for the large scale projects, not for an individual homeowner, or like if a small business is doing it and they're replacing 10 or fewer, then we can accept a photograph.
Oh.
But for large apartment complexes, like they're doing 500 toilets,
Yep.
and we inspect 20% of them before and after the installation, and that's at no cost to the property owner.
Do you run into any issues where like you take the toilet out and there's like, old galvanized pipes or something along those lines and they aren't able to maybe use that new of a toilet? I guess that was what I'm saying, you know what I mean? Like where then it might be kind of like opening up a new can of worms, you know what I mean?
Haven't had that problem. Interestingly, in the apartment building sector, there are a lot of contractors out there who specifically focus on doing bathroom retrofits of apartment buildings.
Okay.
Because so many apartment buildings are in need, and because the results are so great, they've made a business out of it. So they replace the toilet, the shower head, and the faucet aerators, and that's how you get those big water savings.
Okay.
And almost all of the projects we've done are installing the 0.8 gallon per flush toilets. Those work very well in a residential setting, generally, whether it's a single family home or an apartment building. And most of the companies that do these kinds of bathroom upgrades install those in apartment buildings because they work so well.
And that's why we're seeing those big savings, even though they might already have what used to be an efficient toilet, the 1.6s. Remember, we went from 3.5 gallons per flush down to the 1.6, and we thought, hey, now we got it. But now we're going even lower, which is terrific. They've changed the flush mechanism for more of a power flush. And you see just from the graphs, these graphs just make us all very excited in the water sector to see the drop in usage.
Yeah, great.
And then, if for our multifamily partners, if you're wondering, if you're not even sure how your water use looks from an efficiency standpoint, that's something that our team does for our customers, what we call a desktop analysis. So just by giving us an account number, we can check that water use. We can go as far back as 2017 and give you a view of what your water use looks like and compare it to what we call the not to exceed numbers for your type of facility.
And how do you do that?
How do we do that?
How do we do that if we want to get that? We just.
You would just give me a call. Here's some cards. And so I can get you started down that path of understanding what your water use is and whether or not it's something efficient And whether or not we find that you're a very good candidate for some rebates or some free water saving devices from
Okay.
us.
Cool.
And that includes irrigation evaluations. Here's one for you as well.
Thank you. Great, awesome. Thanks so much for that. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Any questions? No? Everybody's good? Great, thanks so
Thank you for
much.
having us today.
Absolutely, thank you.
So much
All
appreciated.
right.
I'm excited. for something. Ooh, it's a girl. All right. So, next will be community redevelopment plan update from Professor Trent Green. Hey, Professor Green, thanks for joining us. You've been a busy man. I see you're at the Civic Association meeting. You got the Tampa High. They got you everywhere. Go, go, go. Good to see you.
Go ahead, go.
Thank you all.
Go check it out.
I guess I have to start, so I apologize for emailing you directly last week with the table of contents for the document section. So last September, sunshine. But anyway, we wanted to bring you up to speed on where we are, and Courtney has the
Yes.
table of contents for the document itself. We are working feverishly trying to get the draft together. There's a lot of coordination, we have a lot of graphics that will go into this. But we wanted to share with you the structure of the document itself, and also to ask you if there's anything else that we should highlight or eliminate in the document as well. The structure is pretty set. There might be some other subchapters that might go in as well. So I think that's all for that. We also wanted to show you some of the maps that we, as part of our contract with the city, we agreed to generate a lot of map imagery. We have other types of imagery that will go into the document as well. But we wanted to sort of give you an idea of what the CRA looks like, let's say, in both 2D and 3D. No, we don't have a video or anything like that. But this is our base map that sort of shows the CRA boundaries and adjacent neighborhoods. One of the things that we're going to add to this is the boundaries for the downtown CRA, which comes up to here somewhere. Here it is. Okay, and then Ybor City also. Of course, you know where the boundaries are, but we want to show it graphically in the document as well. So everything you sort of see here in gray is existing. Now we're showing the gasworks buildings that are just about to complete their first phase as existing because they are near completion. Okay. Here's the rest of the gasworks project, and it's shown in this color because it's proposed. It's not yet built. Here we have a few one of the TV maps first. So we've as part of our existing conditions assessment, we've documented both buildings, open spaces, and other features in a number of different ways. And so this again, we're separating things out into these layers. Okay, starting with the CRA boundaries, which has the acreage there. Open spaces, both in the CRA and adjacent to it, as well as bike path trails, things like that we're mapping. Institutions, again, both within the CRA and just adjacent to it. We're also looking at this is all multifamily residential, right? Okay.
There's a handful.
Okay. Again, both within the CRA and adjacent to it, that again, that already exists. and then the commercial and industrial uses, that are, within the CRE and just outside, as well as the vacant local property.
Different types of vacant.
Yeah.
Wow.
Based on who owns them.
Right.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, that's great.
Um,
You say who owned them? You talking like city owned or
Yeah.
privately owned?
yeah, we've
Yeah,
got
the Department of Transportation, the city of Tampa, the ones that are used as parking, so they are vacant, but they're not, you know. And the Housing Authority, the Port Authority, the Expressway Authority also have a big, you know, stock of vacant land.
again, I'll take a.
Yeah, good job on that though.
And then we're looking at it in a just slightly different way. This is just sort of using the Google Earth sort of background image. And a lot of these, of the writing on these too small for you to see. But again, it's some of that same information, but just in a different, different format. Okay. And so here again, all the open spaces that we've documented as well. And then we're showing, let's see, we're showing proposed development within the CRE. And this yellow is intended to suggest potential. That's what we're using. That's somewhere in the title. It will be in the title.
Those are the remaining Tampa Park apartments that are still standing.
Yeah.
Right. And we wanted to make sure that we got your opinion on that because we certainly don't want to. But we recognize that is affordable housing now, and we don't want to create the image that we're suggesting that but the plan actually advocates for it to be redeveloped. But we want to get your opinion on how to just how to represent that. We can of course read it as it is. Okay, but we recognize it as the one of the last remaining.
Because that's privately owned.
Right, it's privately owned.
So I don't know that we would have too much insight or say, yeah, in that.
Okay. Well, we just want to know, should we represent it like this or just leave it as it is? Because it will go in the document.
Do you have any suggestion on that?
As far as, I'm sorry,
This is
leave it at.
As it is existing right now.
Right.
As it is like those type of
Right.
those apartments,
Yeah.
right there, it's what's
Yeah.
called blocks.
Because I don't know if anyone knows, but did the owner keep a hold of it for a certain reason and not sell those?
You can assume.
Well, we're going to be, it held out for
We're waiting for the value.
for that for quite a while. So,
See how everything will happen. You know what I mean?
but again, that's what we're calling it potential.
The puzzle
Not proposed, but
but it's like 10 times more. Yeah.
We're also looking at a lot of these smaller scattered sites up in here around the job training center. And as potential for some smaller scale infill development. Similar to what's happening with the Canvas project and what's supposed to go here along the past. Okay. We did talk to the property manager over at the Archdiocese St. Peter about St. Peter Claver, this property that they own, and for years I've been speaking with some of the parishioners at the church because they're old friends of mine, because they just wanted to know what was going on around them. They didn't realize that the land had been rezoned a while back for.
Which church is this?
St. Peter Claver. And then we still show the two houses that are owned by the Housing Authority. And we heard what David told us about the future plans for this road. The rest of those parcels ran along Scott Street. And we didn't know how Housing Authority wanted, was going to brand that, but we keep sort of referring to it as sort of a heritage road. Okay. And it's sort of a similar take on the on what they did in Houston with the shotgun houses in right. Is it Fourth Ward? communities are used to. But they preserved a series of a whole block in front of shotgun houses, and they turned them into artist studios. And this is quite a big draw. It's got a lot of attention around the world for that matter.
You say every studio, is it commercial art studio or residential, like the artists live there as well?
No, just studios, just.
David, did you know anything about those remaining, the Andrews family that owns the remaining portion of the other part that Daryl didn't purchase? Have you heard anything about,
Which?
so the original Tampa Park Apartments, the
Oh, yeah,
buildings that are left?
yeah, these
Do
here.
you have any insight or heard anything?
No, we
Yeah,
really, it's quiet as a church mouse over there. And there's nothing going on over
right.
there. So we're thinking that maybe they made the right dollar amount here and they're holding out, that they don't necessarily need to move on that property, so they're
Like,
just.
like the Pink House by Rose Park, you know,
Yeah.
saying they're waiting for you guys to demo everything and then say, okay, how much is this worth now?
Yeah, they're not particularly stupid.
Oh, no, they're not.
So my question, when you say potential, what is that showing as potential? Is it potential what?
Similar to them or.
Yeah,
or like
similar
the
type of
residential
studios.
mixed use.
Okay. So, I'm a little apprehensive about showing change when it's not, because historically, when plans have been put out, people say, well, they've been planning to do this, whatever, blah, blah.
Mhm.
And so this may be looked at as that's what we want to have happen, that's what we're proposing. So if we're proposing that, fine, but if it's just maybe, I would leave it as it is.
Okay. Well, we know it's, would be an issue, that's why we.
Yeah, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't get into that.
Like, be better just to show as it is right now, that maybe like outline the whole lot there and showing the provide as like a potential for development.
Well, they're saying the same thing.
Same thing.
My thought is
Or
we
use the word instead of potential. Because it does seem to lead in the same
Right.
direction. If you were, you use the word possible.
Or
Or
underdeveloped.
just future, future development.
I would say leave it as is. But without talking about what it's going to be, because,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, because none of us know what that is.
Right. um,
Underutilized.
Currently affordable housing.
Yeah, we'll talk about it,
Exactly.
you know, as, you know, and it is.
And I don't know that we can actually call it affordable housing. It's just vacant.
Right.
Oh, there's goods on our side?
They're not,
Oh, oh,
so
I didn't realize no matter what they do.
maybe just a small footnote, could be like,
$10, no matter what they do.
you know,
okay. Okay.
yeah, but there, yeah, that is unoccupied.
So,
And I don't think
and to
it
me,
It didn't meet a certification for affordable housing.
so I think saying what it is safer than saying what it could be. It's currently unoccupied, formerly affordable housing.
I agree with that.
Okay.
That sounds great.
Okay.
For unoccupied. Residential apartments.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. And
Yeah, and I would get the same, we didn't like, I don't know if we talked about that yet last night, but saying, yeah, I don't want it to be assumed or misinterpreted that we have some. Or we have, a plan over here, and, it just would be better to see the black and white, that this is what it is. Yeah.
But that is some outstanding work.
Beyond, I'm extremely impressed with you guys.
And this is showing that sort of 3D.
Why did that interest all the men?
You know, 3D is a different.
Oh, okay.
looking at it from a different vantage point. One is sort of
This is,
north.
This is looking east.
this is northwest, this is, southeast, looking at
Yeah.
that direction.
Again, existing, old grade, and proposed, all the orange, and then. of course,
Reach out to
same-
that.
same color. Now, this is the other thing that we wanted to I brought it up, I guess, a while back because we wanted to know how to represent this also, or if we just should talk about it. That's the potential bright line, which the TPO put this out back in 2021. So
Has there been any reconfirmation, update, anything like that since 2021?
no, other than the mayor's press conference, but again, that's why we're sort of, holding off until there's an official announcement where the station's going to go.
And there's like a lot of speculation from like, for example, these cannabis apartments were showing, and these guys that came with the hotel and the tower on there, they were mentioning that here will be the best station. So they're like speculating that this spot for that thing. This is a spot for the Brightline station.
It's a nice location.
It's right across from the current train station, right?
Right.
Yeah, the current train station is right here. Yeah.
This is on that triangular kind of corner.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Sitting up that.
This is all like a corner.
And CAC and Lucille only.
Yeah.
It's that piece, that
Yeah,
one
that's
piece of green space.
And then the city-owned property.
It's like a V green
The
space.
proposed,
Mr. Brown's
this way, station, streetcar station in Ybor City, will part of the gas works project will be right there. So the conventional wisdom about transit facilities, I say, is to try to get them as close together, or as close together as possible. So if that's Union Station, which we currently only have 2 Amtrak trains coming in per day, if the Brightline station is here, the streetcar station will be modernized streetcar.
Everybody can walk.
Right, everything will be in walkable distance, so we're done. But again, should we show it or just talk about it? Or not? And for that matter, should we even put this in the document?
What's this one for?
Brightline.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm seeing. Yeah.
I would actually be hesitant to even include it, just because it's old now, kind of, so to speak, it's kind of old. Yeah, there might have to be I'm not sure where the funding would come from that. Because if we ask the citizens to fund a portion of it, they're gonna be pretty resistant to that, I think, unfortunately. I would say like, do it now, it's just gonna cost you more to do it later, but that's me. I think most people are like, hey, we're taxed to death, forget about it.
Okay. Well, that's the kind of.
That's just my opinion, that's not meant to be the official voice.
Well, that's the kind of input we want from you, your guidance on in terms of addressing issues like that in the building documents. So, green space. I would hate to get this all the way to the board and then.
Right.
Say, yeah, as the state know, that we should bring this up, so.
Do we have these on slides online that we
I
can
think
view?
there's a large.
Well, I'm just saying, is there any way,
We are actually at 11:17 and 8:11.
because I'm really curious, I can't, the time that it took you guys to figure out the ownership of those lots and stuff. That's what I've been asking for a long time, because I'm very curious to see, what to do for future use on those too, who owns them, why they're holding on to them, if they'd be willing to, do things, develop on them.
So we did this, to give you an idea of what the total build out of this area.
Crazy, right?
And that's what we're generating this to flow 2E and 3.
So you started with the St. Peter Quavers Land. Did you get a feeling that they're not
No,
interested
they,
in doing anything else?
actually, the gentleman told me that they don't have any plans to do anything for either the church property nor the school property.
When you mean anything, they just remain what they're using them for now.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
There's no changes. No plans. Sitting there.
I mean, awesome part of history as far as the school goes.
Yes, indeed.
But before we even started this project, I spoke to some of my friends, first in the church, they just wanted to know what was going on because they mentioned that the diocese suggested to them that whatever decision they would like to make on both of the church itself, because the building does need some different upgrades. And when I told him, I said, your land is already going to be zoned for multifamily housing, which makes that property pretty valuable.
Did they say where the majority of their congregation lives now, or if they have any idea if that's declined since the demolition of Central Park housing projects or anything along those lines?
I didn't get a sense of that. I haven't had a chance to talk to Father.
Yeah.
But my guess is that they are dispersed like a lot of earth churches.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Congregations are.
Right, and that's why I wonder if maybe it would make sense to relocate the church to where the congregation lives closer by. You know, their travel time isn't maybe.
From what I know about the congregation of that church,
Uh-huh.
they are affluent and everywhere.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And they,
But they already own that property though.
yeah, and that's to make sure you really have any insight on, we don't have to know too much about Mama Raya or any of the others.
No.
Whether they're active, correct? All the churches that are on, and our boundaries on Nebraska.
Yeah, the ones close to me.
Okay, yeah. Did we know anything about the Ebenezer, the building that's on Scott Street, that I thought that the St. Pete, it's right on the other side of the St. Peter Claver, between that and Paradise Baptist?
Ebenezer.
Ebenezer has like the gate in front of it. I always heard that the St. Pete diocese, I think, owns that or something. And there's always like random like the garbage toters are outside, but like there's never anybody in there. But there's always garbage toters, like somebody in there that's, you know.
The past is had been board meeting a couple of months ago. The pastor for is that, I forget the name of it. But, yeah, think the main church.
He's never come.
Okay.
He's been to city council meetings.
Yeah.
Right, that's, yeah, okay. But I heard they, were looking to do something with the church, but the issue was parking. They don't have any parking space. Right. So, yeah.
And that's currently still the issue per se. Have they stopped working on it?
They haven't stopped working on it. They are refurbishing it. They do not have access to parking. That's for sure.
Where'd they park before when the church was active?
There used to be a vacant lot back there.
Oh, where the compost is?
Yeah, he said yeah, where the compost is, they used to park back there.
Gotcha. Governor, right there.
Mhm.
That's Governor Street.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Governor and K.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
But I don't know who owned the land at the time.
Right. This is great.
But that's what we wanted to update you on. Like I said, those, we're starting to populate each one of those chapters now with those narratives and graphics.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of other graphics, diagrams, things like that that are going to go in there as well.
Yeah. Because looking over this, I was kind of like, I was a little confused on kind of like what. I mean, it's laid out, but like, okay, like you're saying, the graphics or like the subcategories would give us a little more insight into what we're actually talking about as far as in full market rate housing. Like, what about it? You know what I mean?
Now, I guess I should have prefaced this by that, like saying the way that the plan is going to be organized is exactly what we talked about with Courtney last night over in Tampa Heights. So the document, the plan document itself, we take a look back because there hasn't been an update since it was created. Published. So look back, it'll try provide a sort of snapshot of where the CRA is at this point. And then, like I said, this will sort of look into the future, what it look like in terms of building up. We are also generating some other information for that last portion on the economic development portion of the document. That, again, we're not going to dig that deep into the numbers, but we do want to sort of give you sort of like a graphic understanding of how the TIF has performed over the years versus expenditures, things like that. So this will be a bigger sort of, maybe another type of chart or something like that.
Anticipated benefits from the redevelopment, is that what you're talking about?
Right.
That part.
Great. And there's some other graphics that will try to quantify things in the document as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So since you started all this, research and everything, and has your vision kind of changed about, what the CRA's role is? And, what the, it sounds like everything's almost developed or done.
Well, one of the things that we're talking about also is that, as the CRA gets closer to this point of being sort of totally built out, and of course, we'll talk about this in the document as well, but now it becomes part of this larger, the northern end of downtown, sort of the western edge of Ybor City, because you'll be steps away, okay, from both essentially. So, as opposed to this, sort of isolated sort of area in between. I guess when I first started teaching at USF, when Central Park Village was still up, the area was somewhat isolated. Some people said, no, it's not part of Ybor City anymore, it's part of downtown. But now, of course, it's, it is starting to be much more integrated. That's what we're gonna describe it in.
And having its own identity.
Right.
That was one of the biggest things, like you just said, the correlation to Ybor, the correlation to downtown, and that's great to know that for a location standpoint, but the actual identity of this neighborhood, and this is a CRA for a reason. It's not just randomly picked. Like that's something that I think we all agree we want to make sure we.
Yeah, we do have a subchapter in there also about the history of legacy of the Central Avenue Corridor. Expanded as well. And I think that's it. Like I said,
That's great.
We will try and get you this draft document as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
We're working pretty much all week, next week on it, to try to compile everything and get everything sort of coordinated from both the narrative and the graphics, like I said, so you can have a chance to please start reviewing it before, let's say, by at least at the latest by May. Okay, because we do have a May 9th presentation
For city council. Okay.
Yes, I'm just thinking like the May 9th usually has a deliverable date about a month
Yes,
in advance.
right. That's what we're trying to get to.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's, it would be, mid-May would be, my guess is later than what my deadline would possibly be.
Or
Because, so May 9th, we'd be looking at like an April 12th. Because our April
Right,
CRA
right,
meeting is April 11th. Usually information for the following May 9th meeting is going to be right the day after the April 11th meeting. So you're looking at like an almost April 12th deliverable.
yeah, we knew it was we knew that a month for the actual presentation date is typical to get to the board and city council, let's say, for given time to review things. So
Yeah, and it's really actually more for internal review, like the director, administrator, legal, council sometimes doesn't get it until a few days before. So it's more of the internal, more of the internal routing.
Right.
So that leeway gives all the internal routing, the opportunity to happen. So, but we can discuss that offline with, how we're looking with dates.
Okay.
And sometimes we put a draft as a placeholder, knowing that even just a few days up to the council meeting, we're gonna replace it with a final.
Right.
Sometimes we put a draft placeholder in there.
Okay.
So it depends on like how far along you are close to that April 12th date. If you have a draft placeholder that we can keep working on, but we can iron out all that.
Okay.
What do you need? Do you need anything from us between now and then? Anything that we should be brainstorming or any homework for us or any insight or?
If you look at the structure of the document, again, if there's anything you can think of that just, we need to mention, and I know it's kind of hard for people to
This one?
see the whole thing itself, but if there's anything in any one of those sections that you think we should expand on,
Okay.
please let. Yes, if not Courtney know it, then she'll pass it on.
Yeah, let me know. And then I'm wondering if sending a link to the current CRP. Just,
Ooh.
I mean, what do you think? Have you been kind of like seeing how this stacks up to what we have existing? Or, I mean, is that?
It started out that way,
Yeah.
but because things have, that was,
That's, I
Almost
mean,
20 years ago.
20 years ago. So, of course, and I say start out that way because, of course, in the front portion of the document, we're going to talk about, the statutory requirements and just give a sort of a broad overview of what has transpired, let's say. But there are some portions of the document that I guess I can be more specific, affordable housing, let's say. And as a statutory requirement, of course, we can only talk about what the authority's done with, in our code in that regards. Okay, but there's no other sort of affordable housing that's locked in, at this point. So, but things like that, and let's see, open space, of course, we've seen it Paragon Park, and I'm not sure how long this playground has been there, but
David Booker, is that Booker?
but things like that were mentioned in the regional document. That's what it's bringing
Yeah.
forward.
yeah.
Is Booker?
1970.
What was your guys' biggest like surprises doing this? Eye openers or anything?
I don't know if we ran, we were surprised by anything because, like I said, I've been studying this area with my students for probably a couple of decades.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's great.
In fact, we did a master plan for Uncle before they did.
Isn't that something? Wow.
How did I line up? With what they did?
Pretty close. This was their, the central access was part of her concept for developing that. In fact, Jerome, and you were aware of this presentation. I'm not sure, were you?
I don't think I was.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I was still a banker.
Okay.
He was a trap.
Late to a meeting.
Yeah. He was
I
on
don't
spring
remember
break.
it covered that.
But
That's great.
and we did give them the document from the studio.
So you've had this in your wheelhouse for a while, so.
Yeah, I mean, this is, the city has been a sort of a learning laboratory for, like I said, for the entire time I've been at USF. So we're pretty familiar with a lot of conditions around the city in that regard. So
Yeah.
We've seen it evolve. Of course. Well, I have. I should say these guys are.
Yeah, I'm excited to be able to dig into it and learn from Professor and all of you. It's, as he says, it's a laboratory, so I get to see how all the things we're learning is implemented in real life, actually. So I've loved this opportunity. From start to finish.
And even not even knowing the city, like coming from different place, you know, and like it's an opportunity to learn more about the city, better find out what it's nowadays and what's the possible future of it.
Yeah, kind of cool to be a part of it, huh? Yeah.
Intriguing, yeah.
Yeah, I'm almost ashamed to say it. When I came here, the only tall building downtown was a tower.
The lights.
No, that wasn't there.
Oh, you mean the,
See?
The Floridian? The
No,
Floridian Hotel?
it's on Kennedy and Ashley, the building, the dark building, the square building.
Kennedy and Ashley.
How many floors?
Kenny, actually, the Bank of
Oh, the
America.
building, yeah. Oh, is it back up there? It used to be,
It was Barnett.
Barnett, that's what it was.
We built that building in about probably the late seventies.
yes.
Yeah.
I remember having a Barnett bank account.
Checkbook.
Yeah,
Or not checkbook.
and 22% of the rest of the entire state. of Florida.
That's right, that's right.
That was the first building I worked in.
Oh, really? Oh, my gosh, that's where I recognize you from. Our original main office for that regional bank. Barnett had regional banks and the regional banks had branch banks. And our original main office was at Ashley and, what's the Straz on there? What is that street? Right between the Poe parking garage and that building.
Yes.
Is that Cass? Yeah, so it's about a 5 or 6 story building. It was the St. Pete Times for a little
Right.
while.
Oh, yeah.
That was Barnett Bank's corporate regional office. That's when I joined the
Yeah.
team.
What happened to Barnett? Did it get bought out?
Oh, yeah.
They, we talked about that all the time. Barnett Bank was a big dog in Florida, 100 years old, blah, blah, blah. And then nobody, the only people that could afford to buy Barnett Bank out would be, who at that time was Nations Bank. NCNB, they started out in North Carolina. Then when they came to Florida, they changed their name to NCNB because they had to have a name. And we used to tell our clients that NCNB stands for nobody cares. But one weekend, we all went home on Friday night, Barnetters, and we came back to work on Monday, working for Nations. And the two CEOs of the holding companies, Charlie Rice on the Barnett side and Hugh McCall, who was a little ex-retired Marine, and they were just absolutely diametrically opposed. And they were the only two people that I ever knew that actually let it be well known they hated each other. And we always said that Hugh McCall bought Barnett so he could fire Charlie Rice. Now, that's all talk.
It doesn't leave this room.
I'm sure they're all long gone anyway.
I have no other information that's just moving. But yeah, they
That's
ran
years
a real different operation.
Now, there is one thing that I guess we wanted to talk about. We didn't talk about it in the document. That this is one of the prominent things in the downtown.
Yeah, this is Twigs or Cats.
Comes off at
Orange.
Orange.
Oh, I see. We're around.
Right at this corner, for years that, city is traffic department, building, to do something about it. That's sort of squiggly issue there, but.
Is that's not where the kid is, is it?
That's for those, like those.
Yes.
Underground and the.
And it may just like you gotcha. But I haven't really found out anything more about, that. It's just adjacent to the district boundary.
Yeah, it's not all the way to the side.
Yeah, thanks so much.
But that's essentially.
It's gonna be a holiday, everybody else is here.
Would be to you about.
You're just curious about what the future uses for that little section.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what can be done, like what can water changes, like we couldn't find anything.
You have any idea?
Oh, I didn't hear. I'm talking to
So
David.
basically, you have to introduce yourself, sorry.
The intersection of Cass and Jefferson, Cass and Orange Avenue coming right through here. That it's a point of both entry into downtown as you come up the interstate here. And also this type of thing, point of mass exit downtown. This,
Are you asking if there's maybe a proposal of anything happening?
well, I heard, I guess, years ago that they were going to things that yesterday, I'm not sure.
This is right here.
Anywhere
It's kind of a little, it's like a little island, right, basically?
Right.
And it's split in the middle, like a block that's split in the middle.
City owned?
Is it owned by the city?
Yeah, because you come in, of course, you have to go over to.
That's right there.
But Jefferson is one way sort of this point,
Right,
what the.
right, exactly.
The city,
Here.
the temple.
Yeah.
Triangle piece. And that's in downtown, or
Yeah, that's downtown Sierra, yeah.
okay. Do you guys have any ideas or suggestions for that? What you think would be good use for that space?
No, I mean, it's right near the, well, because it's such a raceway, like I say, coming in and out of downtown. We were just curious as to whether or not they were thinking about doing anything with this, with this street along the edge of the western edge of the CRA. When I was in a former life, not too long ago, when I was on the planning commission, I remember when the Burger King folks came in with the land use proposal. I guess I was the only one who said, I'm not so sure about that. This is one of two entrances in the downtown Tampa. We want to put a welcome sign there that says, welcome to Burger King, as opposed to welcome to downtown. But I was outvoted.
Yeah, it was interesting when that went there.
Yeah.
That was a tiny little space.
Yeah.
They maximize that usage for sure.
So I would have voted with you.
Yeah.
Me
On that
too.
one.
Yeah.
Because you said like there's welcome sign, welcome to Tampa, and behind is a dumpster for the Burger King.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Right behind it.
Good. So. But this is what we have. This is what
That's
we have.
great.
so basically you're in your writing stage.
Right.
Writing, finishing.
Gravel, gravel.
So-
Work with it.
So, I've got two people working on, let's say, refining the front portion of the statutory requirements. Two people working on the graphics generation. Aisa, she's the, putting together the InDesign document. That is the support that will publish the document in. And I'm still just right away, just going from verse to verse to verse according. So, but yeah, we'll get it there.
That's right. You guys have been busy for sure.
You should not say what software she's using, because now I know she can do some stuff I
Oh,
don't.
I maybe have her freelance.
You got bring it
Rest of the side.
Can't do that, but boy, did that took my years.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for that.
Thank you.
Business 2025 budget planning process. Anything that you guys want to come back with?
Oh, just, as you said, the, small budget, but I put it in front of you guys because we are gonna start the fiscal year 25 budget planning process. It's always around this time. That what I used to do before was to provide the budget of where we are today, just so you guys can review what our budget was, which would include, because usually there's an approved budget, and then we find out our rollover money, because tip dollars roll over year to year. So then we account for the rollover money we have, and then that's why it says revised, so it accounts for what we approved, what was rolled over, and then that's our revised budget, and then the column there shows actual and what we consumed out of that revised budget. And then what's available. So it's just kind of and it's January 31, because we're always a couple months behind by the time our budget analysis gets us the reports. So, so that's from January 31, where the funds were at that point. And then in the pink column, that's what we start to play with. So I don't know if if other managers have brought this forward to you in the past, but typically what I've done is we start to play in that pink column. It's with the 24's approved budget with a 5% increase, because we're just speculating we'll have a 5% increase. It could be more, but we speculate 5% as a safe increase based. And then that shows you what we're projecting, the 1.3. So we would have the 1.3 to put in the various line items that we have in this budget. So, I'll probably start to kind of plug in some numbers. I like to do that just to get a reaction to see, okay, am I kind of on base with where you guys think the money should be programmed in? But, if you want to take a look at it, and I'd like to do that though in the next meeting, start to have zoning, because so that would be the April meeting. And at the May meeting, I would like to settle up that we agree that looks like a good draft fiscal year 25 budget to provide to.
In different categories.
Yeah. So the names on the side, the far left, are all the individual line items. So.
And these are the only ones, we can't add any items in here. We just have to say whether or not we believe that amount is the correct amount to be in those.
Yeah, I mean, if we think that the monies that are, so what I have to do with the yellow column is I have to project, look at my crystal ball, and I have to look at that 19,000, for instance, in wayfinding, which would be the program that we already allotted money for. So that'll get spent. We wouldn't need to, we wouldn't need to program money for the fabrication and install of that to finish out that overall project. So we've just done the design at this point. So we would need to make sure we have funding in that line item for the fabrication and installation, which would come from the 1.3. So that we would receive the 1.3 million as new dollars that could be programmed into those various line items. But some things that aren't spent will roll over into the pink column. So those things in the line item or the column yellow, if they're not spent, they'll go into the pink column in that same line.
But it's hard to, because we're just in March, right? A lot of this could be spent over this.
Yeah, and that's where I just try to keep tabs on where I think we're gonna land in September. It's a guess, but I try to do the best I can. And to realize what we should put in the pink column in that particular line item. So for instance, the line items that would be new would be those grants, the grants team that showed us that there are going to be some new grants, that there were 14 and they're condensed down to 5, and that's being delivered to the CRA board tomorrow. So the grants that they're suggesting be our new official grants throughout all the CRAs, that'll be delivered to the CRA board tomorrow. And then if they like it, they approve it, then we would build those grants into this budget. So those would be new line items.
Gotcha.
So we would have to build those new lines over here. We'd put them in. We would try to just crystal ball again. How many businesses do you think would apply for each particular grant? If it were exterior, we had 50,000. Do we think it's 3 businesses that would apply? Well, it's $150,000 in that. So yeah, it's just talking through what we think, what monies we think we would spend out.
It just occurred to me that we had a lot of discussion about imagining what we would do and making offers as far as Paradise was concerned. Effectively, that's off the table, right? And so have we thought about anything else
As far as land acquisition?
or expenditures,
That's
big project?
That's kind of, I think that's what I was really glad that they did the ownership, because I think we're gonna have a lot better access to things that are owned by the city. It's right here. We can figure out, hey, what's going on with that? Or we know what land's vacant for future land use if we want to build something on there. Or like I said, the Ebenezer Church, we can figure out who owns that, maybe Transcend's, Paradise, that ship sailed, maybe we focus on Ebenezer and doing something with that, or maybe we focus on the row house, the idea with the Johnson Brothers houses. Or again, like I said, though, I don't know, I know he sounds like St. Peter Claver is not going anywhere, and that's great, but maybe, like I said, I didn't know if like the Mount Moriah Church and maybe a couple of those other churches, if their congregations aren't quite where they are utilizing them, I guess, I don't know the right word to use, maybe acquiring one of them or something, because we don't have a whole lot of options, we have a small space. So with them putting together that presentation showing who owns what, now we have, that saves so much time so that we can reach out directly instead of trying to guess, is the city own this? Is the church that owns this? And we can maybe brainstorm some ideas as well. Of, like you said, if that ship has sailed for Paradise, then maybe we on something else. So like I said, I'm down there all the time. You guys are down there all the time. So, you probably got some great ideas of other options as well. I'm sure both of you guys do. You better.
We're gonna cover this in orientation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you have anything that's jumping out at you, or anything you maybe had your eye on, or a big topic was always that middle piece that they talked about, that V, that pie shaped piece of green
I
space.
didn't raise it because I have ideas now. It's just
Yeah.
clear to me that that's a void.
Right.
From the earlier conversation.
Sure.
And we're talking money. So, okay, so what do we do with that money that we had?
Right.
It was like just enough. Now,
Well, I think a lot of it's gonna have to deal with when they finish their plan, what we can do.
Yeah, because that's a good point. I was gonna say that, whatever's, has to be in the CRP, our Bible, it has to be in the community redevelopment plan in order for us to spend money on it. So it has to be in the CRP and align with Florida State Statute 163. So as long as it aligns with those two things, then we're allowed to spend our TIP dollars on them.
And according to now, we didn't intend to be that specific about certain projects other than just be,
Yeah.
let's say open space feature, something like that, as opposed to.
Yeah, and so the downtown is going through a CRP update as well, and they're doing their presentation tomorrow to CRA. And that's what that's how they did it. They avoided very specific projects because they're going to introduce and hopefully get CRA approval of the scoring matrix for projects. So that instead of it just being a named project in a CRP that lives on forever, that may never happen, but it stays in the CRP because they don't get updated often. Instead of naming projects, we would actually have a scoring matrix going forward where if a project came to us, we would score it based on certain criteria. And if it falls within a certain threshold, it kind of passes the test to keep continuing to go forward with your review and then CRA review. So that's the philosophy with the downtown CRP, is not naming very specific projects to say, we will do a downtown circulator.
Right.
It wouldn't be like that anymore.
Okay, so we'll forward you like a list of like just general categories, potential projects that could, or let's say any project, that could fall in one of those general categories.
Yeah.
And I guess what I'm really asking is, does that create enough of a foundation for something that might emerge later, more specific?
The scoring matrix, yeah. Well, I mean, I think if you can, and you can actually watch it after the fact too, because they record them.
Yeah, no, I'll watch.
But yeah, that might give you a better, because I probably can't describe it as well as they're going to do it tomorrow, and then the discussion all around that, and how the new concept of not naming specific things and objectives and projects in that CRP that we have to adhere to, that as opportunities come along, they actually get scored against a matrix to meet the opportunity, the chance for getting funding.
Right.
So
So we're going to just use the same categories that are listed in the statute. Again, without, loss for land acquisition.
affordable housing.
Affordable housing, yeah, those types.
Yeah, and because we still have to march to that. We
Right.
have, we have to stay in line with that. And so if a project came to us, we first would say, is it in the CRP or does it fall in line with the CRP's objectives and this chapter 163? So we still would have to make sure that they match, and then we would do the scoring matrix, for instance, against it.
Because if you get too specific, that's kind of like a lot of that commercial space that's down there. They got too specific, but this has to be a dinner theater building and this has to be this. And that's why I think a lot of that is just sat, because they don't have that specific puzzle piece to put in there. But if you put something that was a little more general, it would maybe open up some more ideas as time, because obviously that.
Right, because downtown CRP is 1983 and 1988. A little's changed. And there's still, and I use that as an example of circulator. There was some circulator reference that never came to fruition, but it still lives in a 1980 CRP. And it's like, we can't be held to a 1980s circulator that never came to fruition in 2024.
And that's somewhat what I was thinking about when I said, if we talk about what potential and giving it whatever it is. That's kind of the thought I was having too, along those lines. As long as, in addition to the political side of it.
So say that again.
I knew you didn't understand.
I did.
Word I said. You looked right at me like,
I would have said something back, because I'm trying to process it. Say it again.
having something specific live in a document
Right.
is what was going through my head when we were talking about the apartments. Yeah.
Right.
Not only what it is, but the fact that it speaks politically in a way that we probably were not intending.
Yeah,
And then it will live on forever.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
and you're stuck, you're
And
stuck
then we
with
have that, and in 20 years, I'll be like, what were they talking back?
Maybe not even
What were they
20.
talking about in 2024?
Yeah, we've already got 4 of those, yeah. I
Yeah,
agree. So
but-
making it a little more general, I think is gonna be.
I agree, yes. I mean, that's our intent tomorrow, to see if the CRA board likes that direction.
And that's downtown that's presenting.
Yeah, Hiddleston's doing the downtown CRP consultant, Hiddleston. They'll be presenting number 2 tomorrow.
Number 2,
So that's like 9:45 in the morning.
we need number 2, number 5.
On the agenda, sorry,
Yeah.
on the agenda tomorrow morning.
That'll be 22 hours or something else, then we'll get it shut down. So 9:45, okay.
I'm guessing.
And that can be on CCTV.
You can watch it on your computers, so you can watch it live from your desk.
Cool. How long do you think that'll take? Couple hours?
I plan to be there till 5 tomorrow.
Okay.
There's a lot of agenda items, but
Really?
thankfully this one's number 2.
Anything else that would be of interest to us, you think?
Well, the TIF reduction discussion won't happen until, well, it's not right, it's Channel District of downtown, but it's just an interesting conversation. But that'll be in April,
Okay.
about the discussion about dropping the TIF by 50 or 75% in the downtown TIF.
Instead of taking the time, like years off, or still keeping it for the same amount of years, but just a lower portion of the TIF dollars.
Right,
Gotcha.
right, not
So they're talking about
sunsetting,
sunsetting.
yeah, it's more of a reduction in the TIF.
Hmm.
So that's April 11th.
Oh, that's not tomorrow.
No, that would be till 8 o'clock tomorrow. Friday. No,
No way.
but we have a lot of agenda items, but as far as, when you were saying what would interest the street, that is an interesting discussion, but that's not till late.
Anything that borders us, like when they were talking about that little piece of land or the Kid Mason or anything that would have, that is Central Park history or anything that comes around, because downtown borders right by our, we need a border with them, so we can look at the agenda. It's gonna be that something.
Yeah, no, because I just know my biggest one is the CRP update tomorrow for downtown.
Gotcha.
That's my biggest one, so. But yeah, we have more on the horizon with trends update, the TIF reduction. I don't know.
Matt, do you have anything that you want to share with us or anything, any updates on your guys' end?
No, I don't have much. I know that they're still working with some of the city members on some sort of incentive. That's all I really know. I know we're pushing along, so we just got actually budgeting back from all the subs that we're working with. So we should have a better idea in the next couple of weeks of our direction on there, because we just got our pricing back and trying to value engineer it a little bit. But yeah,
Was it the medical and the grocer that was, you're taking out of the equation now and moving forward with everything else?
so we're trying to move forward with all of
With
it.
everything?
Yeah, we're still trying to move forward with all of it.
Gotcha.
I think it makes the most sense.
Gotcha.
Be the most successful to that
Okay,
area.
so nothing's really changed from the, other than just the funding, obviously. but
Yeah,
the plan.
yeah, that's the biggest part is we had to get the pricing back in order to start to really see where we are funding wise and see where the gaps are. So we can,
Because have you guys broken ground on that?
no, yeah, but the plan would be to hopefully in the next few months.
Oh, cruises?
We're hoping
I'm saying is getting minimum parking standards lowered.
Well, I don't even think we tried to do that. So we just kept it, because I think that's easier to do if you become like an entertainment district, because then your minimum parking would go way down, right?
I don't know, you would know that probably.
We're not an entertainment district, so yeah, we just went with what we already have and stuck with it.
Because I mean, it just seems like if a grocery store in the neighborhood shouldn't have parking.
Yeah, no, I think we still did hereby, like whatever the code says there, not a
These
whole lot.
lots were free. No, no more.
It stinks.
We went down to foundation. I was like, oh, it's perfect. I'm not paying $2 to park to go get a cup of coffee. Come on. Igor now saying that the spots that were free, where you always zipped around. That was always my biggest thing. I was like, I'm not paying for cover or parking. I was down here long enough. And I'm like, ew. Okay, great. Anything else that's on our agenda that anything that you
Well,
guys?
David left, so there's a couple items that he had.
He didn't really have to. I tried to ask him if he was gonna, because he had to skedaddle. So I said, if he was basically here if we needed to vote on anything.
Yeah, and Perry Harvey Park was the same. I haven't gotten an update, but from the minutes from the last month, that's the last I knew about Perry Harvey Park.
Vandalism.
Yeah. And that's it. And the orientation, if you're able to make one of those 2 days, that would be great.
Sign up for the
Good.
25th.
Okay,
Thank
thank you. And then each person's getting a binder with the material. So I want you to carry it around, all around Central Park with your binder.
I can't wait.
But it'll have all the materials, so if you're unable to attend or feel like you already have enough knowledge of the CAC.
It's an invitation.
It's actually the Entrepreneur Collaborative Center in Ybor on Palm and 21st, 22nd Palm. It's,
Near the sheriff's.
right.
Oh, wait, you're,
Yeah, Oliver, yeah,
gotcha.
so
21st, I'm trying to figure out Palm.
The 21st.
Between the one-way streets.
I'm saying the streets, he was asking.
Got it. 100%, got it.
It's on here, the
25th or
25th Monday or April 1st Monday. So
Which is
the
the day after
the next two
October.
Mondays, next two
Easter.
Mondays.
Do the 25th with us.
You guys can all go out with your binders.
I
will look at my calendar.
You're gonna 25th, but
I didn't know everyone had to do it. That was just a new rule.
it's just nice to.
I'm pushing it
I'm pushing it special anymore.
Well, I was the kid. It's actually.
Yeah, I'm scrimmage, an example.
I think it's helpful to even members who've been on for a while, because we've done so much, we've had so much change in the
Yes.
organization over the last 2 years. You wouldn't know this, but there's been a lot of reorganization. So, so it would be helpful to,
This is my fourth mom.
yeah. Yeah, but I'm gonna keep them.
That's right. What you got?
Yeah, I'm so lucky.
But yeah, it's there. Did you ever do one when you first started? No, I would highly recommend if you could, the 25th it's a lot, but a lot of these terms and stuff that they throw on acronyms and stuff. And you're like, what's a RFP or program 1433? It helps you understand that and why they use them.
And if you don't understand it all, you get material to walk away with for reference. You got me, or at least some of the dots might start to kind of click,
You'll
not
take away.
all together, but they'll still some, because you'll hear from the legal, Morris Massey, who's our legal representative. He'll talk about the sunshine law, why you can't speak to one another outside of these meetings, and that kind of, and why, so.
We can't say hi.
You can say hi.
We're just talking about
But
Okay.
if I saw you two talking on the street, I would walk over, I'd turn around. Because if it's anything.
We're not supposed to be in cahoots.
If anything could potentially come before before this board, and you two had a discussion outside of this meeting, that's a violation of the sunshine law.
Parking expired.
Yeah.
Good to see you guys. You guys.
I'll just need to have a good night.
So, yeah, so it's good, if you can, and, you know, I think you probably walk away with more than you thought you would. So it could be helpful.
All right. Call this meeting to
Oh, yeah.
order.
We were just having a good old chat.
That's right. And then those things, I'm telling y'all, take them for your business. I wish that I just had a bunch of those sitting at the house when I had that toilet leak. Got them tablets. Oh my God. And I got food fund that I use on my house forever thinking, but those are nice to have just to, you know, if you got somebody that's like, water bill high.
I know, I have them. I don't even have.
You know, you got a leak?
Yeah.
Is that right? At your business or your house? Ooh. Those flappers, let me unplug you.
Yes.
Those flappers are so inexpensive and so easy.
Yeah.
You guys want to take some of these?
Yeah.
I just think for $1 water bill.
Okay, so, I don't, he wants to. Right. But it's small, so
This is,
Vanessa.
Yeah, that's what I just said. I got food coloring. I got the food coloring.
So when Vanessa reached out to me,
That's
I
right.
it's crazy though, I mean, that you can't do this for mine, you little.
Okay, yeah.
It'll just.
So when I got this email, I'm like,
Tons of money.
should I have been like that with Vanessa? And then I didn't know if it was duplication of what Jason wants to maybe review or talk to me about.
Jason is just get everything out of our hole, but you know, and really, he wants you to see.
Okay.
And if any grants.
Good night. Okay.
Everyone to have a nice, big, good understanding.
Well, and I loved it because I said, oh,
Yeah.
I never seen it.
Rust.
And I didn't have it before.
And which one's that? Yeah, for sure. I think it's next year.
Like Fridays, like,
Right, it's Friday, it's Thursday, Friday. But,
it took me and Jason.
because
You better believe it, baby.
I mean, unless that's. I don't really, but I can have it. What about your parking?
Oh, honey.
thank you.
Baby,
Thank you.
baby. I got here at 2:30, 2:45. I was like, B, over
Why
here.
are you cheating?
Over here now, because I didn't know if you were gonna have any. I thought there was a meeting in here, and so well, it's funny because I told Hollis, I said, he goes, what, there's parking passes? And I said, well, they're like vouchers. I said, you know, and explained to him how they work, but you get here on time and you stay the whole time, then you get one. You can't come late and then start out early and expect to get one.
Yeah.
Baby.
Yeah.
Baby,
Only for the full,
baby Dave.
full timers.
Exactly.